On the Couch. I am your host, Tarun Verma.
And I'm Janu Chavla.
Today's article is an ambitious one. Ha ha ha. Because the title of it is Highly Ambitious Women Married to Less Ambitious Men.
Ooh.
I like that we're covering this today because I believe this is the first time in history where we've seen this shift in power.
Oh yeah.
Men have always been the high ambitious one. Women were, at home type. Now it's the other way around.
It is. The dynamics are shifting, and I think this is probably prevalent in most relationships now.
That's very true. So let's go right into it. High achieving wives. So let's define that. What is the profile of a highly ambitious woman? Tell me what you think it is.
I think a highly ambitious woman is someone who's trying to do it all. She's not neglecting any part of her duties, but she's trying to really be like Superwoman. She wants that career just like her husband or her boyfriend or her fiance does, and she wants to be at home and take care of her house and have it be, the best it can be. I think a ambitious woman is trying to juggle and be the best at both.
Yeah, that's right. It's the definition this article gives is she works hard and is an overachiever. She's your typical supermom, the entrepreneur, or the corporate executive. She enjoys leadership positions and might even be considered bossy or controlling in her personality. Now, she has high energy levels and often has low tolerance for people who can't keep up with her. She thrives on responsibility and stress, but tends to take on more than she can handle. I think that's apt. For all women that I know that are go-getters, or especially the ones gung-ho about business and all that, that fits to a T.
Absolutely. I don't think women nowadays, they're getting impatient. You can't keep up with them. You gotta get out the kitchen,
Absolutely. Now, what do you think is a profile of a not so ambitious man?
When I think of men, typically you think of go-getters, ambition, bring home the bacon. So thinking of something that's complete opposite of that, I automatically, my mind conjures up this image of a guy, in his khakis, cargos with a t-shirt on, just chilling. He's just chilling. He does what he has to do at work and to provide, and he's got his career in check, but he's not all about that. He's more about, let's enjoy life. I may not be up for the promotion this year at work, but hey, let's go on a vacation this year or something.
Well, I think that was rather verbose, but I think to put it succinctly, he's a lazy-ass mofo. Really, that's just it. How many guys do we know that are just the sit at home on Sundays, drink your beer, watch TV, those kind of guys? Because ambitious guys aren't really like that, though. They're always
you're
gunning
right.
for it. You know what I mean? But let's see what the article says. So the article says that a profile of a not so ambitious man is one that he's relaxed and easygoing. He's generally happy with the way things are going in his life and career. He knows how to enjoy life and take time to relax. Now, I think this is really highlighting attributes of this lazy-ass mofo.
You think that's presenting them in a positive light?
I think it's definitely just sugarcoating it. Okay. But let's stick to the positives here. So yes, it is a guy who's not overrun with greed. As we all know, that's one of the big deadly sins and all that. So if you really want to attain balance in your life, you should be greedy to a healthy level. You should be able to stop and smell the roses, enjoy life, and that's what they're saying this guy can do.
Okay.
So, okay, cool. So we've established that both these personalities exist. Now let's see if they work in tandem with each other, okay? So they're saying, what are the warning signs if two people in a relationship of these personality types collide? Okay? So first one being resentment. It's saying that if you start to feel resentment for your mate, as if you're doing all the work and they're doing nothing, or you're giving all the love and the affection, or they're giving none, then you have a problem. What do you think about that?
I think that's kind of inevitable. I agree. I think with a woman who is very ambitious, if she's with someone who at best is just a really relaxed guy, but at worst he's a lazy ass, there's definitely going to be that imbalance there. I think two people, regardless of gender, they kind of need to be at the same level of ambition, drive, motivation.
Well, I disagree with that, because if you have two people that are close in ambition levels, per se, then you start to have competition. That's where I think resentment can form. If I were to think about it, if you take two actors, per se, and this happens all the time, One actor tends to get immense popularity. Their movies just click, they work, $100 million, whatever. And the other actor doesn't really quite work, it fizzles out. You start to resent that other person because your love and everything was like a competition almost. Like it's not pronounced, but come on, that happens in your head. You think about that.
I don't know. I think that, if you're with someone who's not at the same energy level as you, who's not going to be motivated to do things at the pace that you want to do them and achieve them, I think that creates more resentment. I mean, if you're both challenging each other in that department, that's actually kind of a good challenge. As long as that challenge doesn't, bring up any stress in your relationship and you can handle it like a mature couple, I think that challenge is good. I think that's necessary.
Well, I mean, if we stuck to your theory there, then Ryan Reynolds and Scarlett Johansson would still be together right now. But they not. And think about it. They were both ambitious people, right? Good-looking actors. What happened?
we can't speak of people that we don't know very well. You don't know why they're not together. But
Scarlett Johansson's not with him because I'm meant to be with her. The stars just aren't in line yet.
I'm sure you are.
I know that's what's up. Don't hate on our love.
But I don't think that, I don't think that two people being as ambitious and motivated as one another is necessarily a bad thing. I think when it's imbalanced is when the resentment comes in. One partner resents another, specifically when the less ambitious one is the male. I think the woman will grow to resent the male at some point. It's just inevitable. I don't
think so, because I think what happens here is that if one person is really ambitious, has some really great stuff that they want to do in life, you need a supporting player. And so if the woman is the dominant one in the relationship, you need the husband to be less ambitious because he's more of a support system for her. If you're both ambitious go-getters, it's very hard for one to be the support system of the other. Given the personality profiles that we read of the highly ambitious woman and the man is similar, if you have two of them like that, they're not really there for each other.
No, I think in that sense, if you're saying that one person has to complement the level of ambition of another in a couple, then I think in that setup, it's either you're equal or the man is slightly more ambitious. It cannot be that the woman is slightly more motivated and ambitious than the man. The woman will grow to resent her significant other because men are supposed to be the providers. They're supposed to be the ones that are the hunters, the aggressors. They're
but
out there. But
not anymore, though. See, you're sticking to the old
definitions.
But
we do not live in a social vacuum. Unless you're surrounded by every single person in your life, every couple in your life has the same balance as you. So you're a little bit more motivated than your husband. If everyone is like that around you, then it's not a problem. However, we as a society as a whole have a long way to go until it truly is okay. There are no stigmas for women to be slightly more, get paid more, be the breadwinners, and there be no tension at home. If the man, men can be supportive and be there for their women as a supportive member in that couple, if they're equally as motivated and believe in those,
that's what I'm saying. Like
those beliefs.
That man's ambition is for his woman to succeed, or for her to
right. But
you're
saying that less ambitious men are. The undertone of them is being lazy. So, we have to define here, if you're going to be the supportive husband at home because your wife has an amazing career, then you cannot be lazy. You know what I mean? I wouldn't define that man as less ambitious. We got to kind of make that distinction. If the less ambitious man is lazy, then that's not
going to... Keep in mind, we're going by the definitions of the article. So the article says that the not so ambitious guy is more laid back, he's relaxed, he enjoys life. And we're not sticking to my lazy mofo theory, we're sticking to what the article says. So given that, it kind of, what we've been talking about sort of gels into the next couple of points, which is negativity or ambivalence. So if you can't see anything good about being in a relationship with your overachieving wife or your less ambitious husband, then start scrambling now to find a good match somewhere else. That's exactly what you had already covered in the other point. Eventually the wife's going to start resenting the husband, or even vice versa, that she's too ambitious, she makes too much money, she's sort of bossing me around more. As you know, whoever does tend to make the most money should be the shot caller in the couple or in the household, you know what I mean? So if it's a woman calling the shots, yeah, we're still not a fully blended society where a male will take that well, So definitely. Now let's come to the next point, which is sexual imbalance. So as you can kind of imagine, if we go by the personality profiles here, the super stressed out, high energy woman probably wouldn't have that much time for sex, or even vice versa. She's always busy at work, whatever, or maybe she's super energy and has not a 5 hour energy shot, but like a 12-hour energy shot. She comes home, she's ready to hop on. You know what I mean? And so, and then you can kind of take it the other way around too. So say a guy could be both ways. So if he's sitting at home all day, or just worked 8 hours, came home, has been chilling ever since, he's kind of ready to have some sex. The guy's got energy.
Yeah.
Or vice versa, he could be that super lazy that he just doesn't even want to have sex too. I think it can kind of hit home on both sides. I think if you're both not up to that level, physically, because before we were talking about it emotionally and mentally, if you're not physically up to par with each other, it's going to be an imbalance. It's going to cause a rift.
I think that this article states that the strain in this department really isn't the real issue. It's just a sign of a deeper issue. And I think that's just the case. There could be multiple things affecting a sexual imbalance in your relationship. And do I doubt that this would cause one of those sexual imbalances? No, this will probably affect you in your sex life too. It affects you, in other ways of your life on a daily basis. So I don't think that that's shielded from feeling the effects there.
And I think that, again, the first 3 points kind of go into the next one, which is just indifference. If you generally just overall start to develop indifference for that other person, the emotional attachment just isn't strong anymore, that's just a telltale bad sign.
Yeah.
If you're not wanting to know how that person's doing, you're not texting them, you're not doing whatever.
It definitely takes someone, secure enough to handle the challenges that come with, a woman being more ambitious than her partner and him playing a supportive role rather than vice versa. I think women grow up throughout their lives, seeing examples of how to be that support system, be that caretaker, and to kind of let those roles reverse and be secure with that and be secure with your place. That definitely requires a lot of work. And, I can see that the strain of that dynamic being so different can kind of lead to indifference or, just a lack of attention to one another. I can see that.
Again, these points all kind of came together. And so we see where the differences are, where the warning signs are. So let's talk about how they're able to develop the balance. So the next part of the article was called The Beautiful Balance, how a highly ambitious woman can achieve harmony with a less ambitious man. First point being, lower your expectations. Recognize that your man is never going to be as ambitious, driven, or motivated as you are. He simply doesn't have or want the energy level that you do. So you may as well learn to appreciate him for his strengths. What do you think about that?
Like I said, I think that's a really tough difference to have where, I referred to the energy level. Being ambitious, being motivated, you have all this energy, you want to do stuff, and if your partner's not up there with you, then that's the first thing you can do. You can't control other people's actions, but you can control your own. You can control your own expectations. And a lot of the times, the beginning of coming to a compromise is lowering your expectations. So absolutely, I think if women can be okay and secure with their energy level and have that be their own thing, and be okay with lowering their expectations, I absolutely agree.
And I think that the next point kind of comes together to make the full yin and yang picture here. Consider your cup half full. If you see your husband as lazy, selfish, and feeling that the world owes him something, start searching for his good qualities. Turn these negative thoughts around and consider these characteristics as strengths instead of weaknesses. Like I said, the yin and the yang is here because I think a very highly ambitious woman needs to have a certain type of guy. And you have to play yin and yang. I don't really think two highly motivated professionals, super motivated people really go well together. Here, in this instance, I do think opposites do attract. And that's what it is here. I think that if a woman dates a highly ambitious guy like herself, more than likely, I think you can agree here, that guy's gonna probably be the douchebag alpha male type. And that's not gonna sit well with this kind of boss lady, you know what I mean? She's gonna want someone who's a lot more compassionate than her because that's probably one of the qualities she may kind of lack due to time. So you need a guy who's more attuned with your needs, your emotional needs, who's more sensitive than you. And I think that's where the two pieces really fit together.
You know what this reminds me of?
What?
Neo. I'm a movement by myself,
but I'm a force when we're together. That's right.
There you go. I think, for women, yeah, no matter what man you're with, you're going to see that he doesn't have some quality you want, okay? At some point, you make a decision to view your cup half full. And if being with this man makes you a better person, if him being able to relax or teaching you how to take it easy and stop and smell the roses and stuff, if that's what he does, then you're lucky. I mean, you could have a guy who's barely ever home, who's always working, whose schedule is so overbearing you don't get a chance to kind of enjoy life, and you should be grateful that you have a partner that supports you like that. So this kind of goes with the same, with lowering your expectations. The first thing you can do is control your behavior and the way you think about things.
I don't know necessarily if it's controlling your expectations as much as it is understanding what you need. What you need is not a guy who's going to equally not be home as much as you are, who's going to be emotionally unavailable. You got to realize that person's got to pick up your slack.
That's true.
So realizing what you need is really what this thing is saying. Or what you need, not what you want. There's a difference between what you want, what you need. Realize what you need. You need a guy who's emotionally there. And I think that's the big point. So not lowering your expectations. It's just coming to terms with it. Now, every boss lady doesn't want to be with the lazy guy. She obviously wants to be with the go-getter guy. That, you go to a company party together, you want to be the power couple. They want that. But that's idealistic. Emotionally, those two personalities would just clash. So, moving on, just like you said, let him teach you how to relax. So, you guys should be able to rub off on each other, right? So, her ambition should rub off on him to want to do something interesting, cool. His techniques of stress relaxation or just enjoying life should be rubbed off on her. That kind of comes back to that just ideal relationship. It's a give and a take. You learn from each other. That's what this thing should be.
Absolutely. I mean, in any relationship, you should learn from each other's strengths and, help each other where your weaknesses are. If you are a workaholic and you need to learn how to relax, then great. You can learn that from your partner. It's not necessarily a bad thing that the male in the relationship isn't ambitious. So I definitely agree with that part.
What's the next one? Go ahead and I'll let you take charge.
Let's see. So this is a really interesting point. Less ambitious men have egos too. So, just because the man isn't the higher provider or the breadwinner, he still needs to feel like he's the man of the house. So women, this is something we have to really be careful with. Just because you may be more motivated, don't be the one who belittles him or makes him not feel like he's the man of the house. And that's so important. I think you can fall into that trap so easily of, speaking to your man like, hey, I'm in control here. It's okay to have, your man have control, even if he's not the super ambitious, motivated one in the relationship.
I think you're very mature for saying that. I think there's a lot of women out there who would disagree with you on that one. They are not going to give a shit. If they're the bread earners, they're the ones making the super six-figure salary and the guy's not, they're going to want to say shit. They're not going to care for the ego.
But these women need to realize, again, like I said, we do not live in a social vacuum. I mean, we as a society are still very male-dominated. Most of our industries are male-dominated. The workplace is male-dominated. I mean, come on, you cannot... It's okay for a man to be more educated than a woman in a relationship, but it's really challenging when it's the other way around, when the woman is way more educated than the man.
But see,
it doesn't work that way.
You know plenty of people where the girl that we know is more educated than the guy. It's happening more and more nowadays.
I don't see it very often. I see it very seldom, and when I do see it, it hasn't worked out. I knew someone who was a doctor, and her boyfriend just had a bachelor's degree. And while it was an amazing relationship for the both of them, it just ultimately didn't work out because he couldn't provide for her the way she could provide for both of them.
See, I have a friend of mine, actually he's a mentor for me. His wife is the doctor. She's got her own practice. I mean, she's obviously the bread earner, making the super six-figure salary. He's not to say he's not ambitious. He's very ambitious himself. He does well. But he's nowhere near her income level. Mm-hmm. But what he lacks there, he makes up for by being the homemaker. Mm-hmm. He is amazing with the kids.
But they are the exception and not the rule, I have to say.
I think they are the idealistic form of this.
Yeah.
You know, that's in an ideal world where guys are becoming more and more stupid and women are becoming insanely smart. For a man to accept that role and flourish in that role, that is something that I think should be admired. He takes care of the kids, and he's great with it.
Yeah, but I bet you anything that his woman doesn't really tell him what to do, even though she's the breadwinner. Sorry, she probably is. You know, she lets him feel in control, lets him feel like the man
I definitely
of the
agree
house.
with you. I'm not disagreeing with you
That
there.
that is a
I'm just saying that
necessity.
there's a lot of women out there who will pretty much give you the middle finger to what you just said.
I'm sorry, these
but
women.
you're right, though. You're absolutely
These
right.
women are gonna see that, you know, if you emasculate your man on a daily basis, I'm sorry, it doesn't matter if you make $100,000 more than him. That fact will already bug his ego. But
And eventually she'll find herself sitting at home drinking a skinny margarita and eating ice cream by
with
herself.
her cat.
With her cats. Because that's all she'll have in the
Exactly.
end. A lot of cats.
You can make more than a man. You can be more ambitious than him, have more goals.
But you gotta
be
stroke the
motivated.
ego. But see, that's a
But
double
you have
standard.
to stroke the ego.
But
It's
now,
just how it is.
What do you think? Do you think that how long will it be before that double standard will cease to exist?
Centuries. I think it'll.
Really?
I think it'll take at least another. If this transition completely happens in the next 50 years, when I'm still on this earth, I will be extremely shocked and I'll be so proud. But I think it could easily take another century. This is something that's existed since the dawn of man. I mean, this goes back to the caveman days where the man was the hunter. He was the provider. And
you're definitely a lot more realistic about this. I'm more idealistic about this. When did women get voting rights in America? Do you remember?
It was... Ooh, we should know this.
Yeah, no shit, right?
It was like in the 40s or 50s, I want to say.
No, because I remember like World War II and everything, the women were like baking fucking pies and shit, and it was like in the 50s. I think it was like 70s, right? It was like the... No? It was 60s?
Definitely 40s or 50s.
The right to vote and all that shit happened that early?
Women's suffrage? I believe so.
Huh. Okay. Well, here's what I'm saying. So so today this is 2013, and say that did happen in the 1940s, right? So 7 years, here we are where we have women CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. That is going to trickle down to the common man, and I like to believe here. So I'm going to say before we die, I think this transition will come through.
You think so?
I absolutely do. I feel it. I know it. I just do. I think before I die, I will see it. If not, fuck it. I'm going to be the house husband that makes this shit work. I'm going to let my woman go out and make the bacon while I'm literally cooking, crackling bacon on the skillet.
That's funny. Let's see.
I mean, think about it. Like, what guy would not want to do that? I'd love to wake up in the morning, eat Fruity Pebbles with my kids, go to the fucking park, have poopy time together, and take naps. That sounds amazing. And then my wife's like a surgeon who's off like cutting people's brains open and stuff. I'm just saying, to me, it's a win-win. Maybe I'm a progressive guy. Maybe that's what it is. But I would love to be the house husband. I have no problems with it at all. If it ever happens to me, I will love to do it. I'll fucking pick up gardening and all that shit with it.
It just seems like just in the 30s or 40s is when... So, women were, remember the flapper girls in the 30s? That was considered so taboo. And yeah, like, the flapper girls coming out, drinking, partying, that was so new in the 30s. That was just 40 years ago. It was sorry, my math is all effed up. 80 years ago. 80 years ago, it was taboo for women to come out and party. What's that about?
Nowadays, you can't even have a party without the girls.
Exactly. So I feel like it'll take... we have so many things we've dealt with, race issues, same-sex marriages, things like that. There's so much that our society needs to deal with and get over and just be okay with that, interpersonal dynamics and relationships, men being more dominant than women, that is something that will take centuries to change. I just have a very
You and I differ on this, but for the sake of closing an argument, I will agree to disagree with you, okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you in part 2 of this article. We'll see you next time on the Couch.
Bye!